Hey guys, welcome to another Total War Attila video. This time I'm giving you an overview of the White Huns and the Alani's roster update, which is a free DLC that drops alongside the Age of Charlemagne campaign on December 10. I'll first be covering the campaign situation of the White Huns, a new faction that got added to the Grand Campaign. After that I'll take a look at the new rosters of both the White Huns and the Alans, which is of course an existing faction that got a complete overhaul of the unit roster. Be sure to take a look at the timestamps in the description if you want to skip to specific parts of the video. So the first thing this free DLC gives you is a completely new faction for the Grand Campaign, the White Huns. This is a race of largely nomadic peoples who lived in Central Asia and managed to conquer a lot of lands there in wars against Indian and other Asian factions. In the game, you will play as the White Huns who were pushing westwards in search of new lands to conquer. The White Huns are starting out in the very east of the map, right in the backyard of the Sassanid Empire. They are led by King Gila, and historically this man united the Uwar and the Xiok Knights, establishing the Heptalite dynasty. Let's take a look at the traits for the White Huns. They share the cultural trait with Attila and his regular Huns. Scourge of God gives the enemy -10 morale when fighting against Christian factions. This one is actually quite bad for the White Huns, as they start away far from all the Christian factions, but let's take a look at the faction traits because they are a lot better. Scourge of the East gives the White Huns plus 100% income from sacking, looting and raiding, plus 1 integrity for every war being prosecuted, plus 20 morale versus Eastern Empires, and the faction is also immune to desert attrition. The first two are decent, however the last two are simply fantastic. Immunity to desert attrition and the morale bonus makes the White Huns excellent at fighting the Eastern factions. As said, your hordes start out at the very east of the map, in the middle of the lands of Parthia and the Afrigid factions, who are both loyal to the Sassanid Empire. Just like the regular Huns, the White Huns start out with a lot of units spread over 3 different armies, which is more than most other nomadic factions in the game. This makes them able to sweep through enemy lands as soon as you start the campaign, and this is also needed because the factions start out at war with the Sassanid Empire and all its client states. You are at war with pretty much the entire East. In terms of gameplay, the White Huns play very similar to the regular Huns, as they have access to the exact same buildings, technology, skills and religion. This also means that the White Huns can settle, just like the regular Huns, and the objectives are therefore focused on raising, destroying a couple of settlements, getting enough money, etc. I do not feel like it is a bad thing that they are simply a copy-paste of the normal Huns, and I will give you a couple of reasons for that. I myself have never played with the regular Huns in the campaign mode, as that pretty much destroys the entire storyline of the game. The White Huns provide an alternative with the same flavor of gameplay, however without destroying the entire storyline of the campaign. You will still have all your Attila events and all the scripted stuff for the regular Huns. The introduction of the White Huns is also very good to balance things out in the East. As some of you may know, the Sassanids have always been the major power in the East in Attila, as it could focus all its armies on the West against Rome. The entire East is pretty much allied and client state of the Sassanids. Now, after this update, the Sassanids face enemies from both sides, and the White Huns will destroy you and your allies if you're not facing them on time. Therefore the balance in the East is a little bit better, and factions like the Sassanids also have a chance of dying in the game. Now that you got a feeling of what the campaign plays like, let's take a look at the good stuff, the White Hunnic unit roster. As you can see, the roster is very similar to that of the regular Huns and relies on cavalry supported by a decent variation of infantry. Let's go through the new units one by one. So here we are at the custom battle screen looking at the roster of the White Huns. For generals we have 3 options, the standard Steppe Chieftain and Steppe Warlord, but the new unit here is the Kidnard of the Sun, an eastern looking very good general unit with good stats. Then for spear infantry we have 4 options. We've already seen the Steppe Levy and the Steppe Spearmen for the normal Huns of course, however the new units are here are the Xionite Spears and the Yanda Spearmasters. Xionite Spears are very special because they have access to expert charge defense, cavalry counter tactics, guerrilla deployment and resistance to fatigue, and they have very high melee attack. Whoops. The Yanda Spearmasters are more of an average spear unit with very stable stats, very good armor, 77, that's really good for the Huns. For melee infantry we have 5 options, only 1 new unit here. We have Steppe Tribespeople, Sogdian Warriors, which is of course an eastern unit, quite cool to see that in the Hunnic roster. We have Uwar Warriors, Chosen Uwar Warriors, but the new unit here are the Kingilas Kandas. This is a very all-around a sword unit, medium melee infantry, medium priced, with decent armor and decent stats in general. Now for X infantry we have the standard step warriors, which are already present in the Hunnic roster as well. However, the new unit here is the Guardian of the Hindu Kush unit, and this is now actually the best Hunnic infantry unit in the game. This is an all-around very elite X unit, also with the ability to use a secondary missile attack with 2 ammunition, access to steady, access to unbreakable, they have scare, discipline, immune to fear, so just a very good unit with a lot of abilities and traits. Then only one missile infantry unit, and that's an archer, the Uwar archer unit, which we've already seen for the normal Huns as well. Then of course most units are found in the cavalry department, however there are only a couple of new units in here. For melee cav, almost all of these are Hunnic, standard Hunnic, step mounted tribespeople, Hunnic mounted warband, step mounted brigands. These guys are new, Heptalite chargers, sounds like shock cav but it is melee cav. This is just a decent melee cav unit with access to cav counter tactics as well, and also resistance to fatigue, so that's quite special. For the rest we have Shamans of the Eternal Sky, Steppe Raiders, Hunnic Horsemen, Noble Akatirsi Raiders, Hunnic Devil Cav, Sogdian Camel Raiders and Nokors. The 4 Shock Cav units are also present in the normal Hunnic roster as well. Steppe Lancers, Steppe Cataphracts, Noble Steppe Cataphracts and First Wave Lancers. Then for bow cav we have Steppe mounted bows, Steppe horse archers, Steppe Xion archers, this is the new unit here. Just a decent horse archer unit, like we've seen them before, basically just a little bit different than the others. And for the rest we have Hunnic ambushers, Hunnic horse archers, noble horse archers, Uniguard, Hunnic devil archers and the Avar horde, which are all present in the Hunnic unit roster. Then a special unit here is of course the Indian elephant unit. This is now the only faction in the game apart from the Sassanids which has access to elephants. These are not the best but still very good, and it might be fun to try out the combination between the Huns and the elephants in general. So overall a cool unit roster. So now that we've covered the White Huns, let's take a look at the roster update for the Alans. People have been complaining about this faction since the release of the game. This is because of the Alanic unit roster. It's basically completely based around Germanic units like Germanic spearmen, Germanic archers and a lot of Germanic cavalry units. The Alans were a faction that had no identity at all, apart from a couple of unique units like Alani horsemen and Akatirsi warriors. With this free DLC, CA completely remade the roster for the Alans. This is not just an update but a complete overhaul of the Alanic unit roster. Let's compare the old and the new roster with each other. As you can see, there are a lot of differences and the Alans can play in a very different way now. Before the free DLC, the Alans were a balanced faction with both decent infantry and cavalry. They are now completely based on cavalry with very limited infantry support and therefore very similar to the Huns. The Alans do not have the ability to bring any missile or spear infantry at all, apart from the Warhound units, which has given the faction a completely unique identity. Let's take a look at the new units. So here we are at the custom battle screen again to take a look at the new Alani roster. As said, a lot of new units in this one, so let's get straight into it. First of all, we have a new general option, the Alani nobles. Really cheap, really weak general with very bad attack stats, but who knows, might be handy in the early campaign game, I'm not sure. Then we also have the Alani general, but this unit was already in the game. Then for melee infantry we have 6 options. Sarmatian Band, a really cheap unit, only 150 talents, a very bad melee attack and charge bonus, only 10 of those, however decent armor and decent melee defense for the price. We also have Alani Swordsman as a new unit. This is a more stable unit with better melee attack and a better charge bonus and just better stats overall. After that we have Alani Warriors. This is also a new unit with the same price as the other ones. As you can see, the difference here is in the charge bonus and the attack stats. The Alani Swordsman, which is the one we just discussed, has more melee attack and a better charge bonus. However, the Alani Warriors have far better melee defense and they also have a little bit more armor, however weaker attack stats. Then the Sarmatian Warband that was already in the game, and the same goes for the Akatirsi Warriors and the Elite Akatirsi Warriors, which are somewhat comparable to Thracian Warriors from Rome 2. Then of course, this is a very cavalry related faction now, so let's get straight into the cavalry department. Alani Cavalry Warriors is a new unit, very cheap, very bad melee defense but decent armor and decent attack stats. We also have Alani Horsemen, which is a unit that was already in the game. Then after that we have Alani Mounted Tribesmen, which is a new unit with a charge bonus of 0, that's really surprising, but the other stats are quite good of course. They also have access to this resistance to fatigue ability. Here we have Thai Valley Cavalry, which was already in the game, and the same goes for the Noble Alani Cavalry, which we've already seen before this patch as well. We have Alani Mounted Veterans, which is really a good unit. Good attack, decent melee damage, still a charge bonus of 0. That's quite surprising. Bad armor, but a very good melee defense rating as well. Then we have Elite Agatirsi Warriors, these were already in the game before the patch. And we have Alani Heavy Cataphract, a new unit and now the best melee cav unit in the game. And actually the most expensive melee cav unit in the entire game. 1150 is a lot for a cavalry unit, however these stats are simply amazing with 80 armor, 75 attack, 60 melee defense. What's this? They have Encourage as well, of course, they have Scare. So a really special and high tier elite unit. The best cavalry unit in the game. Well, melee cavalry unit of course, because there's more to come here. Then for Shock Cav, 5 options. First is Sarmatian Shock Cav, which is a new unit. Very good charge bonus of course, but weaker melee attack and melee damage stats when you're not charging. Very bad melee defense and decent armor. We have Sarmatian Cataphracts and Elite Sarmatian Cataphracts, these were already in the game. Sarmatian Heavy Cavalry is new, just an upgrade of the other Shock Cav basically. However, without the missile attack that the Elite Sarmatian Cataphract had. Then we also have Sarmatian Cataphract Lancers, and this is a new unit and now the most expensive Shock Cavalry in the game with a cost of 1200. These guys have a charge bonus of 260 and still a decent melee defense, melee attack and very good armor for Shock Cavalry. I think this is a really good unit, and of course especially in campaigns. Then for Bow Cav we have 4 units. Alani mounted bows are new, very bad melee stats, however decent archery stats, so not a hybrid unit but very good horse archer. Then the Alani horse archers have better stats with 40 melee damage and 50 melee attack, and also more armor and still the ranged capabilities of course. Grey hairs were already in the game, a very cool looking unit, and Cataphract archers were also in the game I think. I'm not really sure if they're not a new unit, the best archer unit for the Allans. Skirmisher Cav, we have 4 units, Cavalry Raiders over here. This is some kind of hybrid unit with decent melee stats still. We have Sarmatian mounted skirmishers who are weaker in melee, but they have a higher charge bonus. And let's see, it actually looks like they have precision shot, but they're almost the same price or really similar. One of those might have something special. No, I just don't see it, maybe. We have mounted sword raiders, which is of course an upgrade of the ones before, and the best unit is Alani chosen raiders, which also have decent melee stats and just very good stats overall. Very high speed as well for these units of course. Then the Warhounds we've seen before the patch are still in the game as well. Sarmatian Spears and Alani Spearmen are Warhound unit with handlers who can still hold their own in a battle for a while. Of course there are only a couple of men supporting them, however they can still do something. They have a shield, they have a spear, so they can still stab some people. So a lot of new and cool units in this roster. So as you can see, there's a lot of new content in this free DLC that will drop on December 10 for everyone. This content adds a completely new faction and 24 new units to the game in total. However, I feel like this pack adds 2 new factions to the grand campaign because of the extreme overhaul of the Alani unit roster. I was a bit skeptical about the Suebi free DLC in the past. The Lekmits free DLC was a step in the right direction however, but this piece of content is in my opinion the best free DLC we've ever gotten from CA. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Thanks for watching and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.